Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. I'm Dan, and with me is Jacob from Left Behind Game Club.
Hello!
We're here today to talk about the Dark Pictures Man of Medan, which is the new game from Supermassive, the Until Dawn people. And so, we're going to spend today talking about it. Every episode we do, it is spoiler-filled. We're going to do kind of an in-depth recap and talk about what we think of the game. So if you haven't played and don't want to be spoiled, I would say pause here, go play the game, and come back. Otherwise, full spoilers are ahead. Yeah, I guess before we jump into the game, Jacob's got a description of the game for us.
I do. So, the Dark Pictures Anthology is a series of standalone, branching cinematic horror games featuring a multiplayer mode. In Man of Medan, 5 friends set sail on a holiday diving trip that soon changes into something more sinister. Embark on a horrific journey aboard a ghost ship, experience your terrifying story with a friend online, or go for safety in numbers with up to 5 players offline. All playable characters can live or die. The choices you make will decide their fate. Who will you save? Don't play alone.
There we go. And as Jacob said, you can play this online with someone else or solo, as like a solo campaign style. And I believe we played this differently. I played alone.
Yes, and I actually played it over 3 sessions with another fellow Canadian podcaster, Thomas. It was the 2 of us, and we played it on Xbox Live over 2 sessions.
That's awesome. That's cool. I feel like this is going to be cool, as I imagine our experience in playing the game is a bit different.
Oh, it will be.
When I guess actually to get this offhand now, when you play with someone else, do you have like a character you always play as, or does it just kind of trade every other chapter?
Well, that's kind of part of the confusion, is that you don't get to select your character, and you may even play, like, let's say in part 1, I'm just kind of putting parts on it. In part 1, you play as Alex. In part 2, you may play as Conrad. In part 3, you may play as Brad. And your partner will sometimes play a character that you've played in like 2 missions ago, where it's not immediately evident because you share perspective when the chapters start. It's not immediately like you're not immediately aware of, hey, I'm doing this person, because you may look at the bottom of the screen where it says, hey, you are this person. You may miss it, and you may not know exactly who you are. So a little bit strange that you're flipping back and forth, but I assume in a 5-player game you would keep the same character.
Okay, that's interesting. So when you played 2, so are there parts where you just watch because they're playing as the other character then?
In most cases, you will play a character. It's just sometimes you will actually be in completely different parts of the ship doing things, asynchronously, I guess.
Oh, okay. So you saw like half of the game as a split screen at times then. Would that be accurate?
You would actually just see your perspective. So you wouldn't even know exactly what they're doing unless they're literally telling you, hey, I'm doing this. And you're seeing them activate secrets, which we'll get into later, but you don't see their perspective. So it's pretty wild, especially given that I've played all of Supermassive Games' other games. It's definitely a little bit different than prior games.
Wow, that's cool. I kind of feel like I need to go play online now already, just hearing that. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Cool. So, a little background on the game. As we mentioned, it is by Supermassive. So their big game they're known for is Until Dawn. They've also done a game called Hidden Agenda. They've got some VR games they did. That's kind of their big thing. And then lastly, just about Man of Medan and Dark Pictures in general. It was created with the idea that Man of Medan is the first of an 8-part series of an anthology that the Dark Pictures all are, and that each one is going to come out about every 6 months for the anthology, and each one will be based on a horror trope that has kind of one focus on that, and they're not correlated to each other, but is rather just an anthology series, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I just want to ask you, having seen, I knew that this was part of a series, but I assume that, this is going to be a trilogy, or they'll put out 4 games, but the publisher on this one is Bandai Namco, which traditionally is not known for story games, horror games either. Do you think they'll get to 8 parts? I feel like they won't. I feel like there's no possible way that a publisher will let them do 8 parts, especially after how this game did.
Yeah, I kind of wonder that too. That seems unlikely. Maybe they'll change their mind and say we're doing 4 or something.
I really hope they get to do what they want with this, because this game, despite, and not to kind of jump into my impressions, but despite being problematic, is ambitious, and I appreciate ambition. So I really hope they get to make 8, but I don't see it.
Yeah, no, I think I feel similar. As I like they tried to do what they did, and again, we'll get deeper into it, but I'd be interested in it. Like, the idea is cool. I don't know if I've ever played another anthology game series. Like I've watched TV shows that are that way, like Fargo or True Detective or something, but
yep.
I don't know if I've ever encountered a video game that's set out to be an anthology from the start.
No, same. So I really hope they get to make this, especially with what they set out in part 2 of this series.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so that's a little background on the game, and then I guess the last important thing is to just go over our 5 playable characters. So we've got Alex, and I guess with Supermassive games in general, I feel like Until Dawn really had this, is your characters are kind of like high school stereotypes for the most part.
Yep.
So that trend continues. If you were hoping for stronger characters than Until Dawn, you're disappointed, unfortunately.
You will not find them here.
Yeah, they aren't here. They are the stereotype. So our first main character we've got is Alex. He's athletic. He dates Julia, and he is the brother of Brad. And then Brad is Alex's younger brother. He's a nerd. Julia dates Alex, and she's from a wealthy family. And so in the beginning of the game, you do have a brief tension on that because they're doing this sea voyage and she paid for it. And so Alex is kind of like, feels a little apprehensive. Then we've got Conrad. He is Julia's brother. Also, he's kind of a douche. That's kind of his persona for sure. And then last is Fliss. She's the captain of the boat they set sail on. So she's the captain, and I suspect she's a native from where they are, which I think is in like Indonesia or somewhere in that area.
Yeah, I figured that she would come from a French-speaking. I was thinking like a French-speaking island in the Caribbean. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But obviously way far away from where they are.
Right.
Here's a fun fact about the entire cast. The entire cast is full of Canadians. Each of the 5 main characters are all Canadian. Julia and Fliss are from Quebec. Conrad, played by Sean Ashmore, who is a very prominent actor. And Brad and Alex, also played by Canadians. So you can't escape us today.
No, that's incredible. I had a great fun fact. That's awesome. I am outnumbered by Canadians today.
But the game doesn't start with Canadians pretending to be Americans or people from other nationalities.
No, it doesn't. And so, yes, as you said, the game actually starts in World War II, or at least that era right around then. And what you've got are 2 soldiers who are in this Chinese market. It seems like they're sort of on leave from their boat. It seems like they're allowed to be gone, but they're maybe getting into mischief a little bit, doing some drinking, and they get their fortune told. From there, they head back to the boat, and they're drunk, and of course, their superiors don't like this. And the character that you play as ends up getting taken to the infirmary because you get punched. You get punched by one of your fellow soldiers, and then your friend gets taken to like a holding cell for being drunk, kind of thing. So your game really starts off pretty different than I expected. I had no idea there'd be a World War II flashback.
Yeah, and I mean, it introduces a lot of the like core mechanics that you'll be using through the entire game. There, in the training part of it, there's like decisions that mean absolutely nothing about like, hey, am I going to be like there's essentially a fortune teller that uses tiles to to tell your fortune about whether or not you'll be rich or not, or if you will have a son when you grow up. And there's also like a quote-unquote fighting sequence where you use an exercise machine to test out your punching ability. All of it kind of clever way. It's a clever tutorial that probably lasts a little bit too long.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a perfect summary of it, is it gets you to learn the backstory of the game, but it also lets you learn how to play the game.
Yeah, and it even gives you the heartbeat tutorial, which is a very unfun core mechanic to the game, where you have to just press a series of buttons at a certain pace in order to mask your fear from enemies, which happens a lot during this game. You're going to be scared a whole lot.
Yeah, I didn't like that mechanic, and I was bad at it, so I never succeeded. I always got chased.
Same.
Which sucked, because after Until Dawn, because you had the don't move the controller mechanic, right?
Yep.
That one I was better at. I was able to hide sometimes in that game, but...
Yeah, obviously they have to make this game multi-platform, PC, Xbox One, PS4, so they can't rely on the 6-axis control that would be in the PS4 controller.
Right.
Is it even 6-axis anymore? I don't know. Whatever. Sorry, that's a wild tangent.
But you're right though. They can't. I guess you're right, because if you were playing this on PC, if it was don't move your mouse, that would be far too easy. So, right, you're in the infirmary, your friend's in the cell, you wake up, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. You find a doctor's corpse shoved in a footlocker kind of thing, and you're like, okay, this isn't good. And so you start exploring your scary ship to find your friend, and there's like people freaking out. You can kind of hear screams in the background, you find some dead bodies. There's a guy you try to hide from and do the pulse thing. It doesn't work. He runs away shooting his gun. Like, it's just pretty chaotic scene. I'm not even sure I would look for my friend anymore at this point. I think I'd probably just get off the boat.
Yeah, save yourself, man.
Yeah, I think when it's this crazy, I don't know that I'd go after my friend. I'd be like, he's probably fine in the cell. I'm getting off this crazy boat.
He's not he's not a real friend. He's like an army buddy, right? So like,
yeah,
sure you're responsible for your fellow man, but like at the same time, this is crazy. You need to get out.
Yeah, I think I'd just get off this boat, which is how I felt throughout the whole game, but, we'll get there as well. So after this, you do find your friend, you team up, and you're walking through the boat together, exploring. You end up heading to a different part of the docking area. You see this ghost child, which was super scary. Mm-hmm. Then you get attacked, and boom, tutorial is over. Oh, I guess also in the tutorial, you see, I think, 3 coffins get put onto the boat, and it felt ominous when they were put on there. So are these ghost coffins or whatever?
Yeah. And this child, like, comes at you, and you don't exactly know why. Like, there's not much information as to why this is happening. So if you're coming at this game fresh without knowing anything and without having played it for the first time, you're going to be like, what the heck? Why is this ghost child attacking me? But you find out more as the game goes on.
Yes. Yeah. So it sets you up. It's got this intrigue. Okay, something weird happened in World War II or thereabouts. Then we shift to present day, and we've got Alex and Brad chatting on the boat, which is called the Duke, before the other people arrive. And so we find out that Alex, his girlfriend's brother, they have a expedition, I guess, that they're embarking on together, and Alex is nervous. As mentioned, he's nervous because Julia paid for all of this, so he's kind of like, I don't have money, and I feel insecure about that, which is understandable.
Yep.
And then also, he's thinking about getting engaged, and so he's also nervous about that. So he's got a lot loaded into this trip for him. Coming in, he's nervous about it. He confides in his brother, and Brad tries to kind of reassure him. And they seem to be at least sort of close. I don't think they're like the closest of brothers, but it seems like they spend time and do like each other and kind of understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, they immediately kind of struck me as brothers that may be like 5 or 6 years apart, where younger brother kind of idolizes older brother, but they're so they're so distant in age that they're experiencing different things. In this case, obviously, older brother's getting engaged, younger brother is sitting on the sidelines because he's much younger.
Right, yeah, totally. I like that. That's great. So then, after Brad and Alex talk a bit, Julia, her brother Conrad, and Captain Fliss show up, and we head out to sea to do our expedition. As we're going, we get to the location that we intended to find, that Brad had found. So Brad definitely seems to be pretty smart and good at kind of piecing stuff together. And that seems to be his big role in this. We find out he's not like, he didn't do any scuba diving lessons. Like, he's not prepared to be at sea. He gets seasick if you let him drink beer. Like, he's not he's not sea ready.
Yeah, every character has a single trope, and in this case, Brad is nerdy and smart, Alex is athletic, Julia has money, Conrad is a douche, and Fliss is the captain and is very particular about things.
Right. And she kind of ends up being the like adult who's trying to herd the other four kind of thing.
She's
like,
definitely the voice of reason.
Yeah. That's what she plays. But then, she can get angry at times, but she's clearly trying to supervise all these people who don't give a fuck, kind of. And so
right.
So you've kind of got that vibe going on. But in all of this, Brad has found the site where there's something that's referred to as the Manchurian Gold is supposedly here. And if we find this, this could be like the best deep sea dive that, any of us have ever done, and it'd be so cool. Mm-hmm. They find it, and Fliss is pretty apprehensive about doing this because if you find like wreckage, you're supposed to call it in to authorities, not just like go. Yeah, investigate shit yourself. But Julia and Alex are kind of like, but we found it. And so she kind of relents begrudgingly because
but at the same time, Conrad is just flirting with Fliss above water. Like this guy is such a tool the entire game, and he just decides, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to flirt with this other woman who is not my sister. Like any woman, I'm going to just flirt with her.
Right, yeah, he's a total tool. He embodies that character spot on.
Yeah.
He's a tool. That's what he does. So Julie and Alex, though, do go to the dive to explore and it's a sunken World War II plane. And as they're exploring the plane, there's just different kind of weird stuff. You see that it's been shot down, of course. You find like a locket, that a dead person's on there. I think if I were excited to explore something like this, once I saw a dead person, I'd be like, never mind, let's call it in. Like, this was fun at first, but
nope, nah,
yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, dead people, I'm out. This was cool while it lasted. So they explore, and it's cool. If you want to, I think here you can have Alex propose. I didn't do that.
Oh, I definitely did. I'm like, this guy is super late. So when I play games, and this is a trope that I actually but fall for on our own show, that I typically like to role play the character. So I role played because I distinctly remember there was one time where I remembered I was doing a thing, and it was I was Alex in this case, and I proposed to Julia, and I roleplayed the character as he's a dork. Of course, he's going to be the guy who proposes to his girlfriend underwater while they're in a wrecked ship. Like, come on, that is the most tropey thing. My guy's all about this, so I'm going to propose.
That's awesome. I like that. That's great. I think I got stuck in this is that I just played it how I would play, and I kind of wish I would have just embodied the caricatures instead. Because I think then I probably would have got some more fun stuff.
I mean, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but got to find the fun where I can.
No, totally. Underwater, we've got Alex and Julia getting engaged. Above water, we've got Fliss, Conrad, and Brad on the boat hanging out. As you said, Conrad's flirting up a storm with Fliss. He's really going for it. And then we've got this fishing boat that speeds by. And it runs into our net that kind of shows that we have divers below. And kind of creates a little bit of chaos for us up there. Fliss is upset. her equipment's getting fucked up, and also that it's just dangerous. And the fishermen just kind of stare at you. They're just kind of mean mugging. And Conrad thinks that throwing money at them will solve this problem.
Of course.
Right. I guess this is how he always solves problems, is just start throwing 20s at people until they do what he wants.
Throwing them off the boat into the water, sure.
Yeah, right. He's not even, like, getting it to him. He's just being super patronizing. Yeah. So Conrad's throwing money, making the situation probably worse, but he probably thinks is better. Meanwhile, Julia and Alex, you cut back to them, and they're under the water, and they see this boat above, and then they see a small explosion happen, and then the boat drives off. And so down there, you're like, all right, what's going on? This is pretty bizarre. You do come to the top, though, and they're kind of like, oh, it was nothing, it was fine, and they just kind of blow you off. Mm-hmm. Then it cuts to that night. Brad tells a ghost story. It's not very good. Which is probably pretty fitting, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of... They try and do some, like... I don't want to even call it character stuff. They try and build the world outside of the core of this game, because this game is only like a 4 to 5 hour experience, right? So it's pretty slim in terms of, like, fat on it. And any time where they try and deviate from this is the thing that's happening, I just kind of see right through it and go like, this, I don't understand why you're doing this. Just like cut to the chase here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wonder if, like, future-wise, if they're just kind of going to embrace the tropes, or if they will, like, find a writer who writes characters better.
or if these things are, like, telling one story across, like, all 8 games, or if your decisions, even the most minute ones, like, build a psychological profile that will really matter in the final games if you play them all. But at this point, we're just strictly speculating.
No, yeah. If they pulled something off like that, it could totally make all of this stuff, like, really add up in a cool way.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see, I guess. So then, in the middle of the night, you get attacked by the fishermen from earlier. We learn that their names are Olsen, who's their leader, Junior, who is the brother of Olsen, and then Danny. And they attack you. They have Alex, Julia, Conrad, and Fliss tied up. Mm-hmm. Brad, though, has managed to hide, I think, below deck somewhere where they just didn't find him. You get this kind of one-by-one interrogation going on where it's weird because it's an interrogation, I would say, without really asking a lot of questions. It's kind of like they just kind of stare at you, hoping that, like, being taken outside will get you to, like, tell them what they want to hear.
Yep.
It's not a very they're not very good pirates, I would say. But they do that, so one by one you kind of get this interrogation going. Meanwhile, you're playing as the other characters that are tied up, and you can, like, help untie each other and take the gags off each other and that sort of thing. The big thing that happens here, though, is that Conrad tries to escape by stealing...
he's such an idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot. By stealing their fisherman boat, he goes for it and fails pretty badly. He, like, falls, he gets punched. I guess here you can get killed. I just kind of relented once it didn't work.
Yeah, I think this is the first opportunity where one of your heroes could die, and I think it's actually tied to if you start running away, like, after the boat thing, they will just shoot you and you'll die. And this is the first point where one of your main characters can die. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that is right. Which is kind of crazy because this is still pretty early in the game. Maybe, like, I don't know, hour and a half in, maybe?
Yep.
Something like that. So you could have a character get killed off pretty fast. And from what I read, it looks like your characters could die off each, like, multiple times through the game. So there's probably... I would think each character has at least 3 times that they could die through the game. So they do give you a lot more, I would say, a sense of danger. That was something, I think, in retrospect for Until Dawn, is that there were some chapters where it felt like, okay, I can't die in this chapter, but I could die later.
Yep.
This one, it did kind of feel like you could die all the time, which I would say is a plus on there.
Yeah. I would say that's probably one of the biggest pluses is because of the length. and because of the unpredictability that you've touched on, your characters are never safe.
Yeah. I think that was the thing they really landed. So, right, we're captured. Also, this was a story beat that I didn't expect. This game, I would say up to this point, I was like, I didn't expect World War II. I didn't expect getting kidnapped. Like, my whole thing, which we'll get to, was, okay, there's a ghost ship or something. So that was kind of my anticipation. But we did get a lot of different stuff before that, which I was surprised by.
Yeah, and this is the point where you're going to have to help me here, is that you, along with, so your 5 characters, if you still have all 5, and Olsen Jr. and Danny, bring you onto the ghost ship that was explored in the prologue. Right. I just don't remember exactly what the reasoning for going on the ghost ship was.
Yeah, so my understanding is that there's the big storm that's going on. Yep. So we get kidnapped, but there's also a big storm going on, and the Duke, our boat, isn't that big. It's obviously bigger than the fishing boat, but I don't think it's a I don't know, a boat you want to have in a storm.
No.
Particularly.
No, it's maybe like a 25-foot boat. It's not like a 40-foot yacht.
Right, yeah. It seems like the boat from A Perfect Storm or something like that. Like,
yes.
You're pretty sinkable.
Yes.
And so they've got this boat that's not great, but we get kidnapped and we're kind of scooting along, and then we, as you said, arrive at this World War II boat, which you're right is like an aircraft carrier or something. Like, it's huge.
Yep.
It's this monster of steel, and the kidnappers think that we know where the Manchurian gold is. And I don't think that they either understood that the plane we saw is what the Manchurian gold is said to be, maybe?
Yeah, it's all speculation. And these pirates, also, they're also French. They don't seem very smart. And the big thing with Olsen is that he has one eye that is almost, I can't describe, but it looks like one of his eyes is totally messed up, and that he potentially can only see out of one of them. So imagine this pirate who's, not the most eloquent or best pirate, but he's just got a scary, scary face.
Oh, yeah. He's scary. He looks scary, and he's aggressive. And he's the leader, and he's not smart. It's not a great scene. Like, he feels like the guy who would kidnap you and then accidentally murder you, kind of thing. And you're like, no, like, man, I'm definitely not getting ransomed because it's this guy. It's not a great scene.
Yeah.
But yes, as you said, so we get kidnapped, and the fishermen say, let's get on this ghost ship. Like, who's not who cares about this old vessel? Let's get on it. It also seemed like maybe at parts that they thought the Manchurian gold was on this boat.
Yeah. But
that seems sort of weird because I can't imagine that this boat has just been drifting for 50 years or whatever, and people know where it is, but no one's that seems kind of bizarre.
Yeah, I watched SpongeBob SquarePants a lot when I was a child, and it reminded me of the what was the name of that green ghost in there who had his own ghost ship? Yeah. The Flying Dutchman. It reminded me so much of the Flying Dutchman ship, where this ship just shows up in the fog every 10 to 15 years, and just because it's a ghost ship.
Right. Yeah. I think that's fitting. That should be what it is. I think that their communication on this was not great. I think if they made the pirates a little smarter and were like, hey, this boat's at risk of being sunk. The Duke's not that big. I know it's a weird boat, but let's just get on it. I think that could have probably been a little more doable. Instead, it sort of seemed like they thought they could find something on it, which maybe from the outside you could think that, but the moment you walked in, I think it'd be like, nah, fuck this, I'm getting off.
Yeah, this game is devoid of practical logic. Yeah. No character is pragmatic in this game. Not even a choice of, hey, we're going to get on this ghost ship because it's bigger than our ship and we have a better chance at surviving. It wasn't even that. It was just hey, ghost ship, treasure, maybe? Okay.
Right. Yeah. So they really just kind of leapt in logic or whatever to get there.
Yeah.
And they did it. Also, a thing I noticed like immediately when we got on the boat is that there's rust everywhere, but like no one's wearing shoes. I'm like, everyone has tetanus. Like, come on. Like I just yelled that like immediately when I was playing. I was like, tetanus, put on some fucking shoes. Like,
yeah, anyone who's above the age of 25 is just yelling like a parent at their dumb children.
Yeah, right. That's exactly how it felt. I was like, come on. Like, especially because some of the characters did have shoes, but I saw like Conrad didn't, which was like, of course he doesn't. But like, I was like, come on, just put some shoes on while you're exploring this creepy ass boat.
Yeah.
So, thus begins our journey on the boat, which is really where we spend the rest of the game. So, most of the setting for this game is on the creepy ghost ship. And where it starts off is the pirates decide to lock the four of us into a side room, and they're kind of figuring out what to do outside. Is there Manchurian gold on this boat? What should we do with our kidnapped people? I'm guessing this is their first time kidnapping people, so they're kind of figuring it out as they go.
Yeah, they're escalating from smaller crimes to kidnapping now.
Right. At first it was, running over someone's wires or whatever. And now they're like, let's kidnap and get Manchurian gold. We can really do it. Mm-hmm. So they're discussing what to do. Meanwhile, our crew inside being locked in says, okay, well, I don't like being kidnapped. Let's break out of here. And, hopefully we can make it back to the boat. Also, key piece is when we got off of the Duke onto the carrier, they took a cap that goes on the boat that I think makes the engine go or something like that. It's an essential piece. The Duke could move in the water, but it wouldn't move anywhere. Like you wouldn't have control.
Yeah, it's the distributor cap.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. So yeah, distributor cap is key. The pirates have it, so we would need to get the distributor cap to be able to escape on the Duke. There's not we can't just get on it and run away.
Yeah.
From here, we break out through this event. We end up pulling it off. And Julia, Conrad, and Alex escape off of that. Fliss, though, is captured in our attempted escape by the pirates. Again, they hear us making noise, so they come in. And also, Brad's still on the boat at this point. He's still hidden.
Yes.
So, from here, I would say at this point, this may not be linear for how either of us played it, because at this point, you kind of switch from character to character on the boat. Sometimes they're with other characters, sometimes they're not. So it's a little crazy at this spot, I would say, where the rest of the game is on the boat and you're kind of jumping around.
Yeah, and I would say that some of the, like, if you were to play this game and then try and recount it to someone, I think at this point you would just, like, go through the highlights and say, like, hey, everybody loses their mind and some people may die. That's kind of the middle of this game.
Yes.
Not to spoil it, but a bunch of stuff happens.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a good summary. So we'll do our best to kind of recount sort of what happened, but it might not be perfectly in order or how you specifically experienced it as yourself or whatever when you played. So yeah. So I guess with that, a big thing. So Fliss has been captured. So Danny's leading her around the boat and trying to basically lure the rest of us out that, we'll give up our hiding spot to try to save Fliss or, that kind of thing. It doesn't really work. And Danny is definitely, none of them are good pirates, but Danny is probably the good kid who got stuck being a pirate.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, I don't know if he would want to be a pirate, but Olsen kind of made him. And so he's leading Fliss around, but then he gets scared at one point and starts to go crazy, and he runs away without Fliss. And I don't think we see him again. I think for me, he was just gone, or maybe dead.
Yeah, I think that one of the, either Danny or Junior kind of just shows up dead. See, I don't even know. All I remember from it is what happens to Olsen. The rest of it, like Junior and Danny, apart from being forgettable characters, like I don't even remember what happened to them in the end.
Yeah, I think Danny is either lost or maybe we see his dead body later roaming through the ship. But either way, it doesn't end well for him. He abandons his captive and runs off. So from here, Fliss is able to wander the boat herself. And then Brad, you shift back to Brad. Brad decides to come up from the bottom of the Duke and get on board the ghost ship. Which I really wish I had the option to just stay on the boat. That's definitely what I would have done. I'd have been like, I'm willing to forego this player's story to just hide out on the boat. Like, I would 100% do that, and I think his character would.
Uh-huh.
So, but Brad decides to come on the Duke and explore, and since he's come kind of later on, you do kind of walk through areas that you've walked through with other characters at this point, and you're kind of like, oh, I did see this thing, or I did see that thing. Brad and Fliss meet up during this time. They run into each other, and Alex and Julia are together as well. In this span, for whatever reason, Conrad wandered away from Alex and Julia, which is dumb.
But doesn't he think that there's like a monster that's chasing him, which is a thing that comes up over and over in this game, is that characters will start to see things and react irrationally because they're seeing, things moving, things running, rats, whatever it is, right?
Yes. So in this span too, as you said, you start to see different things. So when Alex and Julia are together, she sees this kind of evil version of Alex who's, I guess kind of abusive. It seems like abusive Alex almost, is what she kind of sees, as who's coming after her and coming after him. So that's what she sees. Conrad, he sees like, a naughty 1940s nurse kind of thing. But then she shifts to like naughty ghost. That's scary. That's kind of the vibe of what Conrad sees. As you said, you see the rats. I feel like also through this, there's a lot of dead soldiers you find.
And a lot of like long dead people, right?
Yeah. It total like skeleton looking, rotted, cobwebby, like all of that stuff.
No fresh bodies, zero.
No fresh bodies. Everyone's long dead. And so everyone's kind of starting seeing things and I think hearing things too, right? Do they hear things as well?
Yeah, and that actually does some cool, like, it is cool for the player too, because in addition to your character reacting irrationally, I was playing it with another person, like on mic, and there were multiple times where we were in separate parts of the ship playing different characters at the same time, and like I would just scream, and my other player wouldn't know why I was screaming, and it's because I had a jump scare. There are jump scares in this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of jump scares in this game. It follows that, I feel like, with Until Dawn also. Until Dawn had a bunch, and this one keeps it going.
Yep, high school slasher flick is these games.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's roughly my horror level tolerance. I don't know that I can go a lot scarier. It took me a while to play Until Dawn when I first got it. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to play it in the dark in my basement. And then I was like, I'm going to play it in the light in my basement. And I was like, no, I'm going to play it in the light upstairs. Like, I just kept moving. I was like, I'm a little too... I'm more jumpy than I wish I was.
Definitely up there for, scarier games. PT is very scary. Silent Hill, Dead Space for jump scares. But this is not a show about those games. This is a show about Man of Medan. So jump scares aplenty.
Yeah, jump scares aplenty. But what is nice with these, as you said, with the teen level, is it does feel like that. So I'm like a little bit scared, but I'm not so scared that I can't play. Like, I tried to play Outlast once, and I had to stop after like 30 minutes. I was like, I'm too afraid. I like this, but I probably just have to watch a playthrough or something. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't even try.
Yeah, I was like, I'm too afraid. Maybe I need a braver friend to play, and I'll watch. But yeah, I feel like Man of Medan does fall in that range of, it gives you jump scares. It's scary at points, but it's not so scary that you can't play. And so... yeah, from here, we've got Conrad. He's running from his 1940s nurse monster, I believe. at this point, and he runs and he gets outside of the ship. He's on the outer deck, and he walks across this beam, and you get a choice where you can either jump off of the beam or stay there with the monster approaching you. And I think this is a part where our game deterred, right?
Yeah, yes, completely. So I think it's fair to say that I had a character in this game die, and it was totally because of Conrad's death. And I was impaled. I was impaled in this one.
So you jump off the deck and then you just fall on like a pole?
Yeah, there's like, I think it's like rebar or like metal, and he just falls, and it like impales. It's like sharp, and it goes through his torso, and he's just like imagine on this thing dying. So that's how I lost my Conrad. Like, not early, but like I was surprised it was, maybe at the 60% mark and not right before this game is done.
Right. Yeah. No, that's crazy. I almost jumped and I decided not to. And by not jumping, you find out that the monster you're running for was actually Fliss. And so you've gotten kind of the notion that things are weird before this, but now even more you're like, okay, I can hallucinate even real people as something that they're not. Is kind of this realization you have. And that you basically should do, at this point I realized, you should do nothing because none of it's real. So don't react to it, strongly. Just continue on and you'll be safe.
Yeah.
Sort of thought.
Yeah. Try to do the least irrational move that you could make, and you will not get impaled or fall off a plank of wood.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So then, from here, the whole crew meets up. So for you, minus Conrad, but I've got Fliss, Conrad, Brad, Alex, and Julia. They all meet up together outside the ship. And so they make a plan and say, okay, we're going to go to the control room. We could radio for help. If the Coast Guard comes, then we'll be off the ship. We won't be kidnapped anymore. And, we could put this ghost stuff behind us. Mm-hmm. So we meet up. And we do make it to the control room, and the radio, in fact, works. But it cuts out and it dies. So it's wonky, but we were able to put out the call for help.
Yeah, you think for a moment that you're actually going to survive, and yes. That I thought that this was okay. This is the end of the game because it was getting to maybe 3-4 hours, and I was like, okay, we're gonna call for help. We're gonna get this help, and then maybe we'll have a confrontation with Olsen before we leave. But we're gonna get out.
Right. Yeah. That's what it felt like. But then, as no practical characters we have, as we'd mentioned, happens, we decide to divide the party, which of course ends poorly in a lot of ways. It's not a great move. So, 2 of our crew go to the lower deck to try to get the radio working again. They decide, our one call out wasn't enough. We should go check on this. So I think for me it was Julia and Brad who went.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you?
Same.
Okay, cool. So Julia and Brad go to deal with this. On our way, we run into Olsen, who's gone full crazy, and also has a giant hammer. And as this was going on, it reminded me a lot of the movie The Shining, of kind of how it felt with, here's Johnny. Like, it felt a lot like that.
He's going to smash through the door and and he's got this, like, sadistic smile on his face while he's doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It was, like, very, very on point with that. And you had a couple of those heart rate exercises in this section, which, of course, we failed and caused Olsen to chase us. You end up running away, and you make it into another room and are able to shut and lock this giant metal door that he can't hammer through, which was good. We're safe. Unfortunately, though, on the other side of the store is Junior, who is going crazy himself, and he's got a gun. So he's like, he points out that there's this kind of weird green mist that's on the ship, and when it gets in you, it's what makes the monsters happen and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the first character that like specifically calls out this green mist that other characters have kind of talked about and alluded to. I think even Olsen, like when he passes, he like breathes this. He almost has a heart attack, or he can have a heart attack, and he breathes the mist out. But it's the first character that kind of alludes to, hey, green mist, probably the reason why we're all going nuts.
Right. And so Junior has this. He says it's bad, and so you have this kind of confrontation with him, where you have to answer his questions properly, otherwise this could end poorly for you. And so you've got to kind of be like, oh, we held our breath, so we didn't get the green mist, or the green mist is everywhere, man, we can't avoid it, or that sort of thing. And you can try to like attack him to move the gun or anything like that. What happened for me was that he ended up shooting himself. You just kind of stayed out of it and kind of just tried to keep him talking, and Junior freaked out and shot himself for mine. Did that happen for you?
Yeah, I think that I think I said, like, I tried to play off the, hey, there's no mist, and then he's kind of like, there's mist everywhere, so you kind of hold his breath. And I think in this case I tried to distract him, and he just killed himself in this case, right?
Yeah.
He killed himself.
That's what happened for me. I think there's a part where you can like try to take the gun from him and he kills you here. I think it's a way you can die, but I was just kind of like, I'm going to stay away and like try to pacify him. It does not work though. So then from here, you go to try find the distributor cap from Olsen, because Olsen still has it. So, which, again, not being practical, I don't care if a hammer-wielding guy has the distributor cap. I'm not going after it. Like, fuck it. Let's just hide out. I would just hide out on the top of the deck anyway. I kind of feel like if I was in this situation. Like, once I was not inside the boat, I would stay up top for sure.
Yeah, and I would say, like, as Alex... I think it was Alex in my case. As Alex goes to look for Olsen, this is the part of the game that I remembered the absolute most, because it was disturbing, and then it was scary in a way that you'd not yet seen in the game directly.
Yes. So Alex is going after Olsen to find the boat part, and as you do, you find him dead. He's had a heart attack, it seems, from... I'm guessing he saw some sort of a monster that kind of finally put him over the edge.
Yeah, because he's an older fellow.
Yeah. And in this, as you mentioned earlier, you kind of see the mist come out of him, and then you see his face kind of disintegrate, right?
Yeah.
Where it like loses the skin and is all gross looking. And also in this part, you've got a quick action you can do. A quick time action you can do to try to grab the boat part. For me, it got smashed. It like fell down the elevator shaft.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Did you get it?
I got it.
Ooh. We've got different endings then,
yeah.
Probably. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So mine, it got smashed. We didn't get it. But for my guys, we all went on top of the ship. And fortunately, the military had heard our like SOS call. And they get here, and they're pretty confused. And they're like, wait, what? There is this weird aircraft carrier that shouldn't be here. And it's, really rusty and old looking. But sure. And so they like show up and they've got like gas masks on and stuff like that. And their guns out. But they just kind of grab all of us and put us on the helicopter and we head off.
Right, but I think that like the scary part for me was, as Alex, you just see the rats, right? The rats are just absolutely disgusting. So imagine Olsen's dead body is on the ground, and before you're able to grab this distributor cap, which I grabbed, you didn't. All these rats are like consuming Olsen's torso.
Yes.
It's so vile and disgusting. And after, the elevator shaft drops with Olsen, whether or not you grab that boat piece or not, the rats kind of start to come up from the elevator and come towards you. And as you turn away from the rats, there's this like almost, I don't want to say Silent Hill type monster, but this like very distinctly like grotesque zombie-esque monster that attacks you. And that's the thing that in this entire game, that section is the section that I'll probably remember the most because it was so disturbing.
Yeah, good point. I totally skipped over that. And when you try to go for the distributor cap before you lose it, you have to like pick the mice up one by one to try to get to it. It's gross. It really grossed me out. I was like, I know this is a video game. I know I'm not doing it, but I hate it. It's the worst.
Yep.
Yeah. Then because Olsen's body kind of becomes the zombie of sorts, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. It kind of inhabits it, and it's ugh.
No thanks.
Yeah. Super gross, disturbing. You run off. So for me, I ran off without the boat part because it was smashed, but you did get the boat part.
I did.
So then, how do you guys leave on the boat on the Duke?
We do, yeah. I think what I had said is that I had everyone except for Conrad, in which Conrad. I think my ending was the distributor cap's in my possession. I don't have Conrad, and I think I just go off in the boat. I'm gonna double check that, but I don't remember like everyone being killed by the military, for example.
Okay, so you don't have the military show up. Interesting. Okay, so you make it off on your boat. So for me, I got the military shows up and they rescue you off the boat. They like pull their guns out, but they don't kill you, and then they fly you away. But then, similar to Until Dawn, so in Until Dawn at the ending, you have all the characters kind of recounting what happened, and this game does the same thing. Where at the end, it's kind of interviews at the end of like, this is what happened. This is what's going on. Is that what yours had as well?
Yeah, just a recounting of what happened.
Yeah, so the characters are telling you what happened. So for mine, they were basically like, we were kidnapped. We're on a ghost ship. It's a ghost ship. You should get rid of it. Kind of thing. But what was weird is it ends, and I think they might be in an asylum. They were all in like jail cell looking thing. So I don't know if the military like quarantined them or what, but it seems like that although we were rescued, quote unquote, it actually doesn't seem too great.
Yeah, and they actually kind of go through in a case of a dead character. They actually went back to Conrad and kind of showed him being impaled before the end of the game happened.
Okay, so for yours, you got to see it again.
Yeah, I just got to see like him dead once again.
Huh, okay. So you made it out on the boat. Did the military still get you, or did you end up like captured or anything?
I don't particularly remember that piece of it, but I just know that I had passed. Conrad had passed away, and beyond that, I don't exactly remember.
I bet you guys just escaped on the boat. It seems like you probably got the better ending because I think my people, it's like I didn't have anyone die. Surprisingly, I expected to have more people die because I think in Until Dawn I only had like a couple survivors. Most of my people died in that game.
I think all but one of my characters died in that game.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of a big surprise. You saved 4 of the 5, and I saved 5 of the 5. So kind of crazy to have it go so different.
Yeah, I think the difference will be, like, for me, like, Julia has this long, I want to say scene where she just talks about, like, how Conrad's a bad man, but, like, he also made people laugh, right? It's like a brother-sister kind of additional piece.
Okay.
And I just I opened up my old notes, and it's a similar ending to you with the military. It's just like there's a scene you get that talks about Conrad being dead because and her sister's kind of explaining it.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I guess that probably sums up Man of Medan in everything that happened. I guess we can move on to kind of any other general thoughts we want to talk about related to the game. 2 things I did like, we brought up Until Dawn a bit, but I liked that the credits had Oh Death from that as the theme again. I thought that was cool that they kept that, and just it was a different rendition and played differently. I thought that was a cool idea. And I think Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And then I also like that, just like in Until Dawn, you've got a therapist that kind of checks in with you as you play the game.
The curator.
Yeah, the curator. Yeah, I like that. I thought that was really cool in Until Dawn, and I think it's still cool here.
Yeah, and doesn't he kind of give you... one thing we kind of didn't explain mechanically is that at some points you will get what are called secrets in this game, which give you, like I believe Until Dawn, there's a flash of a screen or a like a spoiler that you'll see that kind of prepares you for what's to come. I don't really necessarily think it impacted my gameplay at all to see one of my characters being attacked or whatever, just because a lot of this game felt out of my control the first playthrough at least. But it was cool that the curator at times, outside of you gathering secrets in the game, would actually give you hints about like a thing that was about to happen to your characters.
Yeah. Good point. I forgot about that with the secrets. You're right, because there were, like in Until Dawn, where you could kind of see like Until Dawn, they were the like the fortunes or whatever, right? You could see into the future. This is a way you could die and that sort of thing. It did the same thing with the secrets. And I think it could also explain past stuff. Like if you looked at items. I didn't look at a lot of items on the Creepy Ghost ship because it seemed impractical. But
yeah, it's like I am going towards this thing. So like why would I go for them?
Yeah, I guess that like I probably should have put a little more of a I'm playing a game hat on for that, but I'm like, if I'm on a ghost ship, I'm not touching anything. Like there were so many that was like, look at this item on this dead body. I'm like, no, I don't want it to touch me. Like, why would I do that? Like, like, it seems like it can only end badly, so I don't want to do that. So, yeah, but the curator, I thought that was cool. Did you, when it asked you if you wanted hints, would you say yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of the times I think I just didn't answer, and so it'd give me a vague in-between answer kind of thing. Because I was like, I don't want you to, like, tell me, but I don't want you to not, like, the therapist or the curator character is interesting in this and in Until Dawn, but just that you're like, okay, how a part of the story are you? Are you just in my mind? That kind of thing. I liked in Until Dawn when it would ask you what you're afraid of and then it would use it against you. I thought that was a good idea in that game. I kind of wish he would have done a little more of that in this one. Like, you got interactions with him, but I wish you would have had that, like, first session, quote unquote, to kind of, like, lead you into some of that.
Yep.
My other, like, I guess general thought I've got is I think Until Dawn was better. But I am interested in, like, the future Dark Pictures games. I think something that helped for this game for me, too, is I got it when it was on sale at Christmas. So I think it was, like, $15 or something. And that feels like a easier price than the, I don't know, whatever, 25 or 30 it normally is. And so I think that kind of helped for me in this is, okay, it's a little game. I like enough pieces of it that I would want them to exist, but, like, if I had bought this as a $60 game or something, I would have been probably pretty disappointed.
Yeah. I also got this game at a discount. I think I got it for like $19.99 Canadian. It is I think it's a $40 product. It's like let me just double check that. Yeah, I think it's $39.99 Canadian. So it's probably like a $34.99 or $29.99 US game. Definitely not worth that, but if you are interested in Supermassive's games, I could definitely see like a case for this thing's on sale for, $5, $7, $8, and you're interested. Like it's worth that, but not much more.
Yeah, and I think that would maybe be a thing. Which I don't know if the other Dark Pictures will be this vein, but it would be a fun game to play with a friend on a Friday night or multiple friends and, like, pay $10 for it, or you all chip in $5 and, whatever, that sort of deal. Like, that seems like that would be a fun scene, but, like, if you're expecting something that's better than Until Dawn, it would be disappointing.
Yeah. I played Until Dawn, as I mentioned, but I also played, and I'm curious for your take on whether or not you played Hidden Agenda, which is the PlayStation 4 PlayLink game that Supermassive came out with in 2017.
I haven't played it. That's the like police procedural one.
Yeah, and it's obviously like the story is very hokey. You chase down a serial killer by the name of the Trapper, but I don't know if you remember the PlayLink feature that was kind of put together by, I think, a European PlayStation team. There weren't many games that were featured for it, but did you play PlayLink or play Hidden Agenda?
No, neither for either.
Okay.
Tell me more about it.
Okay, so PlayLink is essentially like Jackbox's core concept, where it's like use your phone to do a thing, and it was applied to, I want to say, maybe 6 or 7 games that had like a PlayLink brand on them. There was like a quiz game, or there were like 2 quiz games, a party game, a SingStar game, and the Hidden Agenda was kind of the big, I want to say, like the big IP that they tried to come out with there, where you're essentially playing a Supermassive game, but like with Jackbox controls, where everyone on the phone is just doing like voting on things. And the cool conceit with that one is that, you know, everyone would get cards, and these cards would essentially say, okay, at this point, I have this card that's going to allow me to trump everyone's decision. It's like a 2 to 5 player game. I'm going to be able to trump everyone's decisions and say that I'm picking this decision by myself. And the reason why it's called Hidden Agenda is because some players had secret objectives that they got more points for realizing if the other players didn't realize them.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, I would say if you are interested in Supermassive, you've played Until Dawn, I would go to Hidden Agenda first, just because of how cool and unique that core concept is.
No, that's great. That sounds really cool. I like the Jackbox party games a lot. They're super fun. So how long is Hidden Agenda?
I think it's a little bit shorter than this game. I played it when I was doing a Extra Life stream, and I think it only took between 2 and 3 hours.
Oh, perfect. So you could totally just have it be your Friday night, have friends over, let's play Hidden Agenda, just roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Man of Medan is a little bit too long to be kind of a one sitting for like 3 to 5 friends. I think it's just a little bit too long for that. But Hidden Agenda, for sure, like grab your phones, grab a PS4. I would recommend that game over this one, and I would imagine it's probably a little bit cheaper too.
No, that's awesome. That's great to know. I want to check that out. That sounds cool. I didn't know about the like, I'd heard of the game and the crime stuff, and so I was like, cool. Until Dawn people do crime, I'm interested. Like that seemed cool, but just the PlayLink thing, that's really cool, because that feature for Jackbox is super fun.
Yeah, the story is incredibly generic, but the PlayLink feature itself is unique and cool.
Cool. That's awesome. Also, I did see that they had a like brief teaser trailer for the next Dark Pictures game, and the main character in that is
Will Poulter.
Yeah, from he was in those Maze Runner movies, and he was in Bandersnatch.
Yes, he's like the guy who always gets high in Bandersnatch. He's like the savant video game developer in that one, right?
Yeah, that's him. So that's kind of cool. Like that one seemed like I'm trying to remember what it was. It was just like his mom seemed in danger or something.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was a small town kind of game, and I think there was like there might have been like a voodoo thing too in that one. Each game, I think, and you mentioned it off the top, has like a different like psychological conceit within it. Like it covers a specific like subgenre of horror. I don't know how that'll go, but it seems like this one may be a little bit different than what we saw in Man of Medan.
Yeah, totally. So I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm interested to see what else happens, and maybe that will be similar to this one, where I pick it up once it's on sale, kind of deal.
Yeah, and then I guess I just have one other point, is that
yes.
I kind of talked a little bit about what the game was like to play in co-op, but I played it on Xbox Live with a friend over 3 sessions, and there was a lot of technical issues with this game when you played it online. I don't know if you experienced a lot of technical issues playing it solo, but there was a ton of like pop in. The graphics looked incredibly muddy at some points online, and then there was a lot of kind of weak connection errors where, like, I have super fast internet and we played over multiple sessions, yet we would see this weak connection error message come up, which would kind of force us into a pause. And it just happened a lot. Like, it happened at least half a dozen times. So I would say that if you're interested in this game, first off, I've already sold Hidden Agenda more, but if you're going to play this game, I'd probably say play it in couch co-op instead of online co-op, because the netcode's like just not good.
Oh man, that's good to know. I didn't really have any issues. Like it didn't run in any ways that like made me notice it was running poorly at all. So I think just playing it offline, one player, I didn't really have anything go on.
Yeah, kind of just like a buyer beware kind of thing. And it could be an Xbox thing. I understand that the PC version may be a little bit more stable. What did you play it on?
PS4.
On PS4. Okay. We played it on Xbox, and it had a lot of like bugs in it, and it wasn't online a great experience.
Yeah, man. That's a bummer. That could, because I think that like with this too, like if you get taken out of this game at all, I think that can hurt it. Like you have to be kind of bought in.
Yeah, you have to really be into it. And that's why I feel like play it on the couch, because I played Hidden Agenda on a couch with friends, and it was like the best time. So either solo or couch co-op for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. I guess actually, too, when we were talking about Will Poulter, but I think that's something that I kind of hope they run with all of the Dark Pictures, is because Shawn Ashmore was definitely like the big actor in this game. So I kind of hope that they just keep running with that, where they've got one guy or one actress who's a bit more known, like how they did, Until Dawn they did more with Rami Malek and Hayden Panettiere, but like if you've got one like more established actor that's kind of I know that person, with a bunch of other voice actors, that would be cool.
Yeah, which makes you go, hey, maybe I should that guy was in Midsummer, like maybe I should go and because Will was in Midsummer as well, like maybe I should grab this $20 game. I'm very, very, very interested in where they take this series, because you can imagine like if they get to put out all 8 parts of this game, you get this massive collection of horror tales in one $60 package, where you get like 20 hours of gameplay that maybe ties together. I'm very, very interested in where this series goes, despite some of the issues I had with how hokey the story is and how the characters are undeveloped. But I'm still into it. I really hope they get to make the whole thing. Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, like you said, that would be so cool to have just a collection of all of them later on. And you could be like, season 2, 4, and 6 were really good or something like that. Like even being able to just know some are good, that would be big kind of thing. Like that. If they can run with that, and what tropes are cool. And I guess too, as far as horror trope goes, some tropes you enjoy more than others. So I imagine some of the games will be ones that's like, I like this trope, so I like this game, versus this trope's not for me, so I'm less into it.
Yeah, I'm into psychological horror and not like ghosts or whatever. I'm being diminutive here, but you understand what I'm saying?
No, yeah, 100%. No, that's great. I think that covers my general thoughts on the game. Do you have any other things?
No, I think I've covered kind of everything, and maybe talked about Hidden Agenda a little bit too much, but those are my thoughts.
No, you've convinced me. I feel like I've got to put that on my wish list. So, Hidden Agenda sounds awesome. Cool. I guess we'll shift gears a little bit. So, we've got some listener feedback from people that wrote in. So, we'll go through that and listen or talk about what others had to say. So, first up, we've got Alyssa on Twitter who wrote in and said that Man of Medan was a mixed bag, to be honest. The actors weren't very good, Ashmore aside. The characters were poorly designed. I never had the feeling as if I were playing, just reacting to button prompts. Plus that god-awful stay calm minigame. Still, it was atmospheric and entertaining. So, I think mixed bag is a pretty good summary.
Yeah, and I really appreciate here that Alyssa called out that the characters were poorly designed. I feel like they wanted to have a year on this game, and they just got like 7 to 8 months to put it together, and they tried their best, but the characters definitely suffered here. It is so tropey, and if you're fine with playing like a cheap 80s slasher flick, then go for it, but it does nothing to develop the characters. Alyssa is 100% right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Christopher on Twitter said, it was okay. I had high expectations for it since it was from the makers of Until Dawn, but I felt like it didn't meet those expectations. Maybe if I played it not knowing who made it, I would have liked it more. Yeesh.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're expecting Until Dawn, I think that would be a hard fall.
Yep.
Nikki on Twitter wrote in and said, I felt the beginning was quite long and drawn out, and it took a long time to get into. I genuinely enjoyed the horror parts of the game and think they nailed the story and atmosphere, but there was just too little of it, in my opinion. Yeah, I wonder if that's something that they kind of have to deal with being the anthology. So their aim is to be small, but can they craft a good story in 5 hours or not? I guess that's what the next game will be.
Yeah, and they made you go through like not a double tutorial, but like they set up 2 sets of characters, the first 2 of which, if you knew nothing going in, you're like, oh, I guess I'm going to play these army dudes that I know nothing about. It just took so long to get to, these are the characters I care about, this is the story that's starting. It took like an hour to an hour and a half to get there, and, you know, if the game's $5, you may not last that long.
Yeah, no, totally.
Stuart on Twitter said, a big step back from Until Dawn. I didn't find any of the characters likable. Story was pretty meh. I'm hoping the next one is an improvement.
Yeah, more dislike for the characters.
Yeah.
Ryan on Twitter said, I played with friends on couch movie mode, and we sent the hot dude from X-Men away on the boat in the first 20 minutes and never saw him again. That's about all I remember.
Yep, nailed it. And Conrad, a.k.a. Sean Ashmore, he's an attractive dude. Alabasta on Twitter said, I like the first quarter of it and the multiplayer aspect, but it was a lot of build-up that the rest of the game just didn't make up for. 4 out of 10. Shout out to Until Dawn for being awesome, though.
Yep. Solarpunk on Twitter said, considering it was designed to be a shorter episode of an anthology series rather than a full-length game like Until Dawn, it was pretty good. The problem is, like Until Dawn, if you get the best ending on your first playthrough, there's not a lot of replay value. Which is a good point.
That is a good point. And we were talking about my ending, and I just kind of lost the thread a little bit. I went and looked it up as we were kind of chatting there, and it looks like the distributor cap is like you need it for the best ending. So you can miss that QTE and lose your opportunity for the best ending. I guess I did get off on my own boat, but obviously lost Conrad. So... I guess if you do get the distributor cap and all your characters survive, like, you get one of the better endings, so you might not want to go back.
Yeah, no, that's true. So I didn't get quite the best ending then, because I'm in an asylum or something. So I didn't quite get there.
That sounds like a bad ending.
Yeah, you're right. That is bad. It's better than being dead, but not much better. Not probably much better. You're right. Because even if you lost Conrad, but you made it off the boat on your own terms, and no ghost, no army holding you, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I guess now that we're saying that, I do kind of like the variety of endings compared to Until Dawn. Until Dawn, you were either dead or alive. This one, since I stumbled into it, no one's dead, but we didn't really get a good ending.
Yeah, and I mean, it's no, as someone who's played Detroit Become Human, I don't know if you played that game.
Yes.
That game can go some places, whereas this kind of gives you some options, but not very many.
Right, yeah, I agree. It's like Until Dawn gives you cool branching paths. This one does too. But Detroit Become Human, when we played that, I was just astounded over like that pie chart thing you'd get after each chapter. I was like, I love it. Like, inject it into my veins. Like, I want. You're showing me this table of what could come. It's like, taking the Telltale model and then, ramping it to 11. You just loved it. You're like, yes.
Yep.
You're giving me all the stats I need. Yeah, that was awesome.
And the final comment you have is from Chris, and it's just an average game. Great comment.
Yep. I think that probably sums up Man of Medan. So I don't know. Thank you everyone for writing in. But yeah, Man of Medan, it's okay. If you can get it pretty cheap and you want to kind of jump into something like that, I think you could have fun with it. But if you missed it, and hopefully the next Dark Pictures is better, you could also start there. So yeah, I guess that wraps up Man of Medan. So lastly, what we're gonna do is learn a little bit more about the Left Behind Game Club, which is Jacob's podcast. And yeah, just hear a bit about it, and yeah, kind of go from there. So I guess first, if listeners don't know anything about you, what is the Left Behind Game Club podcast?
Sure. So we have very similar podcast concepts where on the Left Behind Game Club, we kind of go through a game beat by beat, talking about the graphics, the story, much like a book club. It's why we called it the Left Behind Game Club. Except that I think that the focus of our show is more broad. You know, we'll play a game that isn't story driven necessarily. Like we've played the game Grow Home, which was just about a robot that loves to climb. We have very similar podcast concepts. It's just where, you know, you would focus on exclusively story games. We play story games and others as well.
Yes. Yep. 100% agree. I feel like of podcast, I've found your guys is the one that I've found that is most similar to us, where I'm like, oh, cool, they do full episodes on a game that I like and have gotten to enjoy a lot of them, like Night in the Woods or Detroit Become Human or otherwise.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of like convergence. So like when we have you on the show, you know, hopefully sometime this year, not you, us getting you on the show, we'll be able to say like, hey, check out their show. They've done this game, and this game that you've done. So if you listen to ours, you can go back and listen to theirs if you're still hungry for more. So if they listen to your show and they're still hungry for more on, you guys did an episode on Detroit Become Human, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you could go back and listen to our take on it as well. So that's kind of what we've done, and we've been going for almost 3 years now. So no sights on stopping.
No, yeah, you guys have been really trucking and hitting a lot of good games I like. I really enjoyed like Night in the Woods or Detroit, Edith Finch, BioShock. You've hit up a lot of cool games that I've enjoyed, and have a lot of other games I hope to play in the future too. So it's pretty cool. What are some of the favorite games you've gotten to cover on the podcast when you've done it?
Oh, I think what I always kind of go back to if I'm like thinking about like the games that surprised me most. Most of the games are first playthrough. There are occasionally a game that I've already played that I'm replaying, but I would say that if I were going through games that surprise me, Undertale, having not knowing what the twist is on that game, I don't even want to say anything about it. You just have to play it. Fantastic. So Undertale, Soma is my biggest surprise on the podcast. Have you played Soma?
I have not. I've heard it's good though.
Yeah, so it's a horror game that, you know, kind of starts in one place in Toronto and goes to an entirely different place. And it is so cool. It is one of my top 10 favorite games of the last decade. I implore you, if you haven't played Soma, play that one. So I said Undertale, Soma, and the third one would probably be What Remains of Edith Finch. That game is phenomenal. I can't say enough cool stuff about it. So those three are my favorites. Have tons more, but I guess I'll leave it at 3.
No, that's a great list of favorites. Edith Finch was incredible. I didn't know that the quote-unquote walking sim style game could be so amazing. Like, you know, you've kind of seen him get shit on by people at times, but I like them. But Edith Finch, oh my god, like the art of that game. I feel like anyone who does anything creative should play that game.
Yeah, I mean, and talking about anthologies, like that game is truly like an anthology series about family members of Edith Finch, where each, not to spoil Edith Finch, but like it is about family, and each family member has their own gameplay style, which is like not like completely different, but each character has their own twist on it, and it's crazy.
Yeah, really, really cool game. What about the future? Do you have games you're either planning to cover that you'd like to pitch, or things you hope to cover someday?
Yeah. So
Or
I can say what our kind of next 3 games are, and I think we've hinted at 2 of them, and one of them we haven't really announced yet, but I'll announce it here. We are doing Gato Roboto and Broken Age in the month of March. Gato Roboto is like this adorable black and white Metroidvania game that is like little story but tons of substance in it. Broken
Cool.
Age is the Double Fine adventure game that was kind of behind Double Fine Adventure, the Kickstarter. I played the first part many years ago. I was a Kickstarter backer, but never played the second part. So I'm excited to get to that one. And then in the month of April, we're playing Far Cry 4. It will be one of our games. And then beyond that, we're kind of still deciding. But I think my big white whale, at least for games we haven't played, Firewatch is number 1. Like the number 1 game
nice.
we have not played. And we are doing it in 2020. That is the hill I am dying on.
Okay, that's your 2020 is not ending without Firewatch. Okay,
I don't care if
Cool.
it comes out December 31st. We are playing this game this year.
Awesome, nice. That's cool. I enjoyed Firewatch, so I think you'll like it. But that's cool. That's awesome. Something that you did mention on a Detroit Become Human episode that I listened to is that you live just outside of Detroit on the other side of the Canadian border. And so this made me want, and you also mentioned on that episode that you like sports and would go to Detroit for sports. So do you like Detroit sports, or are you a fan of a different Canadian team, but you just are really close to Detroit?
So I was a huge hockey fan growing up. I watched too much hockey. So I was a Wings fan almost since day one, even when they were like the era of the Dead Wings. I think I was born in one of the first years of Steve Yzerman's kind of tenure with the team. So I went through them being terrible, then them being arguably one of the greatest hockey franchises in NHL history, and kind of have come back now to, this team is really bad. Like they've only won, I think, 14 games in the entire 2019-2020 season. They are a bad team. So I would say Detroit Red Wings are my team. For basketball, I have to root for the Raptors, the whole country. Like you can call me a bandwagon jumper. It's fine. I totally accept that tag. But it was amazing to see. And I was kind of living in, I moved to Toronto for 4 months the day of their parade when they won the NBA championship. So
that's so cool.
yeah, it was a cool moment. And then from there, root for the Lions, they're bad. And then baseball, I flip back and forth between the Tigers and the Blue Jays. I don't have allegiance there.
Sure. Okay. Nice. No, that's interesting because I was like that. That you're so close to a city with a bunch of pro sports teams, but you also live in another country, so you've got a lot of freedom to choose where you'd want to go. So
yeah,
that's
Detroit
what made me kind of wonder.
Detroit has a very interesting history. Especially with the crash of the Big Three in 2008. It was a city. There's my cat. It was a city that essentially had 2 million people at the start of the century in 2000, and then had 600,000 people, by 2010. So, it's a wild city. There's a documentary called Detropia, which kind of covers what happened as the crash was happening. Detroit's an entirely different city now. I was actually just there today, and it has become such a cool city. So I can't say that enough. Like Detroit, forget what you know about Detroit. It is really cool as a city.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I've never been, so I don't have any experience. But that's
you're
cool.
a stone's throw away. So next time there's a show you want to see, if there's a podcast you like or whatever, if anyone listening is kind of around from the Midwest and you're thinking about a place to kind of go in the summertime, think about a weekend in Detroit.
No, that's great to know because that's not terribly far from here. And I've been to Cleveland, which is maybe an hour away from Detroit, but I've never gone that extra bit. But that's good to know because I was like, I don't know, is it all that? So cool. No, that's awesome. And then I guess kind of last of being able to just get people connected to your stuff. Where can people find you online? Where should they go to listen to episodes or interact with you guys or, any of that stuff.
Yeah, so if you want to listen to the Left Behind Game Club, I would say you can find us at leftbehindgame.club. You can also find us on Instagram at Left Behind Game Club and on Twitter at Left Behind Club. If you want to find me and all of the nonsense that I tweet about, it's typically wrestling related, or I'm in film Twitter and kind of game Twitter as well. Politics occasionally too. You can find me at Jacob McCord on all major social media platforms, but I mostly spend my time on Twitter, so you can find me there.
Awesome. Perfect. Yes. And I'll also, when I tweet our stuff out about the episode, I'll link the Twitter for at Left Behind Game Club and stuff like that. So if you're listening to this and want to check out Left Behind Game Club, I highly encourage it. You should. I very much so enjoy their show, and it's fun seeing a podcast that does a lot of similar stuff but hits up other games than us too. It's really cool. Just that format of the book review, except it's games, and that you and I both do that. It's super fun, and I really like that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what's cool is you will surely look at the feed that we have, and I have actually done. I'm not ashamed to admit that I've looked at your feed too and said like, oh, we should play After Party, or like. You've played, like you play smaller games sometimes, like you'll play Game Dev Story, and I'm like, we should play that game, or Emily is Away. Like, it's cool that we converge in some places, but we also have differences in others. So, together, differences and similarities between our shows and our game focuses.
Yeah, no, totally. I saw that you, I'm excited to listen to your To the Moon episode. I think that's going to be our next episode we do.
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay, I've got to finish the game. Then I'll be able to listen to your guys' show, so I'm not spoiling myself, but I'm like, finish the game, record on it. And then next thing I'm doing is definitely listen to your guys' episode, because I'm like, it's just been on there, and I'm like, I can't wait to play this.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I cried playing that game, so prepare yourself.
It seems like it's heavy. I'm a little bit in, and it's pretty heavy so far. And I'm already like, oh man, if people are saying this is heavy and I feel this way now, I can only imagine.
I mean, I am a quote unquote soft boy TM, so I cried, and I am not ashamed to admit it.
No, I'll make sure to let people know what happens for me in that too. if I join you there. But yeah, I guess that's the episode all in all. Jacob, thank you so much for coming on. This has been super fun. Getting to talk about a decent game, but have lots of fun together doing it.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on. It was a great time.
Yeah. And then lastly, for everyone else, if you want to get in contact with us, you can do that on Twitter at StoryEverPod. You can go to our website, TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed.com. If you'd like to financially support the podcast, you could do that at Patreon.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed. If you choose to give as little as $1 per month, that will just give you access to some bonus Patreon episodes that we do that are just topical in nature. So like we talked about our top 5 favorite Pokemon last time, or we rank the Life is Strange episode, stuff like that. If you're interested in that, you could sign up there. If not, that's totally cool. And we'll see you next time. Later.